Chris Owens, I'm the founder and CEO of LinkSphere. And LinkSphere is kind of like Batman's utility belt, but for networking. And the problem that we're trying to address is something that's pretty common with networking. So you go to an event, you meet people, you shake some hands, you collect business cards. Then you go home and you take those business cards, you take that stack and stick it on your desk, right next to the stack from last week. And then maybe you send some LinkedIn requests or you do a little bit of follow-up. That's pretty much it. The next event rolls around, the whole cycle starts over again. And the problem with this whole cycle is that it's very much a struggle. A lot of people have a hard time getting ROI out of the networking efforts. And what they're really running into is the problem that they're focusing all of their efforts on the front end of networking, which is basically meeting people and initially connecting with them. And they're missing out on the other 80% of networking, which is actually the building of the relationship. And that's what LinkSphere addresses. So I'll show you. So the first thing you might want to know is how do you get contacts into the... Can you see that? Okay, good. All right. Hold on, we'll do that. Turn that off. There you go. Okay. So the first thing I wonder is how to get contacts into the app. So there's 3 ways currently. One is you can just create a new contact. And as you can see, there's actually a lot of different fields in here. Not just business and contact info, but personal information like goals, passions, interests, as well as notes. Next, you can scan the business card. And then lastly, at the My Contact screen, you can actually pull contacts in from your phone. Eventually, we're actually going to be incorporating CSV file import as well. All right, so you got a contact in the system. Now what do you do with it? Well, there's actually 2 fields that are pretty important in LinkSphere to get most out of it. So if we go back here, there's this field called connection level. And the idea here is that your connections actually they're 3-dimensional, they're not 1-dimensional. You want to take a look at the depth of your relationship. So it's either someone you haven't met, an acquaintance, a trusted contact, or a friend. And if we go back out to the main screen, you'll see that we have a graph that actually shows the strength of your network based on that information. Now the other field that's really important is your follow-up. There's an interesting statistic about sales, which is that 80% of sales happen from the 5th to the 12th time you contact someone. Unfortunately, only 12% of salespeople follow up more than 3 times. So in here, you can just select one of the follow-up timers we have in here. And these are repeating timers. You just set it once and you forget it. You might say, okay, so once you got the follow-up timer set up, what do you do? Well, over here in your follow-up list, you'll see I don't have any overdue right now, but I can see all the ones that are upcoming. Now, the next thing you might ask is, okay, so you've got a follow-up timer set up. Let's say you're due to be in touch with them next week, but you just had a meeting with them today. How do you let the system know that you actually were interacting with them? Well, that's done with interactions. And one of the key things to know about interactions is most people think of their follow-up and networking as something they do that's like an email or they call and they touch base. Well, that's only a very tiny bit of what you could do. You know, follow-up and networking has to do with helping the other person and adding value to the relationship. So that's reflected in the app. Right here, I would pick what contact I'm going to interact with here. Who helped who? So in this case, I help my contact. And then I've got this whole list of activities, which actually also gives you ideas that you could do to interact with your different contacts. You also notice that next to them, there's a help point value. And I'll show you where we track that. We go back now and take a look at contact record. You see up in the corner, here's where all the interactions with this particular contact are recorded. And here's what we call the help envelope, which tracks the help given and received between you and your contacts. Now, there are 2 particular types of interactions which are really important in networking. And those are sending referrals and making introductions. And we've built that right into the app. So if you want to send a referral, it's just a matter of selecting who you want to send the referral to, who the referral is, or you can enter it manually. You even have control over what information you're sending. What's the referral looking for? What I told them about you. They're expecting to hear from you, and even the thermometer to indicate how hot the prospect is. What happens when I send this is that actually the person receives an email. They don't have to have the app. In fact, the vast majority of the features in the app, you could be the only person in the world who has it, and you can totally use it. Now, the other thing, introductions, is pretty simple. Just select your 2 contacts, write your message, send. But there's an interesting scenario. A lot of times when you make introductions, you have to ask first and make sure that it's okay to give the introduction. So what do you normally have to do? You send an email, you leave a message, you wait for them to get back to you. Meanwhile, you're really busy and you forget about the whole thing. So what if you could cut out all those steps? There's a tab here called Suggest Introduction. In this case, we do the same options here. By the way, you can control what data is sent in here. You can uncheck things if you don't want to include, let's say, their personal number or something. But in this case, I'm going to write an individual message to Chuck, individual message to Amy, and then preload my intro message at the bottom. And then what happens is when I send the suggestion, the 2 people receive their individual messages with a link at the bottom that say interested, not interested. If they both click interested, then the intro is automatically sent, saves the whole trouble. By the way, interaction is automatically created, your follow-up timer is automatically reset for the contact. All of that is done. Now, there's one last little thing I'll show you before I run out of time here. And that's the contacts Geo Map. So for all your contacts, for some reason, let's see right here. But basically, the idea is that on the contacts Geo Map, all the contacts that you have that have addresses saved for them will show up on the map. So that way you can always see like where your network is, the size of your network. If you're out on a sales call, you can say, oh, I'm near Joe's office, maybe I'll stop by and see him. And that covers the main points I'll show you. This doesn't cover everything, but we're running out of time.
Okay, great. Well, good job. Good job on the demo. I like it. This is good. Oh, I like it. Yes, I have a stack of business cards. As a matter of fact, we have a big stack that we're collecting downstairs. James has got his hand up. We've got another hand over there, so Blog's working on his way back. Let me just ask you a quick question, and that has to do with, like, there's lots of networks for business contacts, whether that's LinkedIn or things like that. Maybe we'll be seeing a new one here coming up called YooGloo, and I don't want to be duplicating my work all the time to, like, re-enter them. So to what extent are you integrating with, I know you have phone integration, and I saw you had one other integration. But to what extent are you going to be integrating with some of these other networks, or maybe I'm already connected to them on LinkedIn?
Yeah, well, the other integration as far as getting contacts in would be the CSV file import, which will be in there soon. As far as integration with LinkedIn, we originally had built a web app before this, and that was like our first version of it all. At that time, we had some pretty interesting LinkedIn integration. We even had like a special thing called LinkedIn import queue, so we basically pulled your first level connections into that, and then allowed you to make the choice, because you don't want to spam up all your contacts with that. Unfortunately, LinkedIn kind of clamped down on their API considerably, and they didn't even, it was like really ridiculous. It's kind of like, you have to apply for access. All right, I apply for access, and they send you an email and say, you didn't qualify, we're not going to tell you why, this isn't really a real email address, so you can't respond to us, and leave us alone. It was basically like that. So we're hoping that in the future we might be able to open up some channels that might be able to get us back to be able to do that. As far as other networks, I'm not sure what you mean, but our intention is obviously to, if there are logical fits like that, we definitely want to. We're also intending on linking, connecting up to CRMs eventually, because if you think about a salesperson, this would be to manage his personal network. And then if he could send the certain people that are the leads of the customers onto the other, that would be the intention.
Yeah, so a couple things. I think maybe your geolocation wasn't working because you went into airplane mode.
Oh, you're right. That's why.
So I think
I'm like,
it probably works, guys. And I was kind of thinking about, like, when I typically make introductions, typically it's through my Microsoft email, it's through Outlook, it's in the Outlook client. So something that might, I don't know if you thought about doing like an Outlook plugin or something to tie directly into Gmail, because that's where I already have a bunch of those contacts.
Yeah.
To tie into that somehow.
That's another intention that we have, to be able to hook up to like Gmail so you can pull your contacts in. However, the way I would do it is I would want to do it similarly to how we were doing with the LinkedIn app, because I think a lot of programs, like when you take something like Nimble or other types of software where they just take all your contacts indiscriminately and pull them in, well, if we did that, it would just spam up your whole network in here, and it would make the system less valuable. Okay. So what we probably would do would be to like pull it into a queue and then allow you to like select them. I mean, we could probably make it so you could suck them all if you want to, but I think for most people that wouldn't be the best option. Okay.
Yeah. And then one, you kind of touched on this tying the CRM systems. Do you, right now, you mentioned this is kind of more on the personal side for me to manage my personal networks, but do you kind of see not only just accessing tying into CRM applications, but also kind of making it an application that companies, businesses like encourage or have their employees use to manage those networks and track things?
That's the intention. There are some organizations, like for instance, right now we're talking with Stream Energy. They're more of a multi-level organization where the people in it are independent sales reps, right? So it's a logical fit for them. We're never going to, I have no intention of making it into an actual regular CRM and competing in the regular CRM space.
Right.
There's no need for that. This is the space that's underserved is the networking content management area. As far as enterprise organizations where the salespeople are in-house, the one thing that I'm kind of exploring at this point is some people have the consideration that the sales manager might have issues with the salesman owning data that's his, instead of putting it all in the company database. So I've gotten some pushback from people, some people who have brought up this point. I think the salesperson would want to use it very much. Whether there are politics relative to the company might be on an individual basis, and I'm just starting to do some exploration to see how much pushback would we get on that. Exactly, so.
Thank you.
Okay, question right here.
Yeah, I think one of the most valuable things you can send to a network are either job referrals or candidate referrals. So I'm wondering what your capabilities or your thoughts are about those.
Well, I mean, you can send a referral. I mean, you can do it for whatever reason. I mean,
You're
if
saying
you
anything
send a
special
referral,
up to it? You're saying that you're going to do something unique or special? Is that your question?
Yeah, or if you see a job
Any-
that maybe somebody's appropriate for you, can send them a link directly or.
yeah, well, the thing is that our referral feature is not specific to any particular industry, so you could send it for that reason. You can send a referral that way. You can make introductions that way. I mean, it suits for any type of referral.
Okay, great. You got 3 more questions there. Let's do them quick. Get that one.
Hi. Just wondering for the email capabilities, if you have possible queuing features. So if this connection happens on a Friday and you don't want to be in the weekend, wait. You know, a queuing feature or an attachment feature so you can attach files, like resumes, and also
Queuing for what? I'm not quite sure.
queuing for the email. So you know, it connects on a Saturday night when.
Oh, you mean like schedule the
Yeah.
introduction? Oh, I see.
Just thought of it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of feedback that we'll be obviously gathering, and we'll see what. Yeah.
Okay, you got 2 more. One right here.
Is there any? I think a lot of problems comes when I know I need to call this person, but I have no content to talk about it. So is there any content generation features that, for example, I know this person is very interested in cloud computing. Is there any, or he works for Microsoft, is there any content generation, for example, oh, Microsoft or a competitor just launched X, then it gives me excuse and content to call this person, you know.
Yeah, I have interest in taking a look in that area. We don't have anything currently on it. The idea would be to do it right, because I've seen some services that try to do this where sometimes there's really relevant stuff, and other times it doesn't really make any sense why this piece of content is being referred. So I have to look into that, yeah. But I mean, I'm interested in exploring that, for the purpose of, follow up. Okay, yeah, I saw this great article, that type of thing. I'm also plans to be able to have it so maybe we can create some email templates to make it easy if someone doesn't want to have to type from scratch.
Okay, the final question here. We'll wrap it up.
Yes, I have a question for you because I understand that the service is a lot of features in that, and I was wondering if you build that on your assumptions or did you get many iterations with your customer base and getting feedback? Because by myself, I have a lot of features I want to build in my app, but I'm trying to keep it very simple and just do the main core thing. And for me, actually, the thing that's most attractive in your service is the last thing you showed up is the introduction. And if it was only that, very simple, very easy, on my point of view, could add a lot of value. But building a whole network and kind of duplicate what Facebook or LinkedIn does. So that's my question for you. Are you building on feedback or on your assumptions?
Yeah, well, I started off because I wanted to solve this problem for myself. And networking is something that I've spent a lot of time studying and practicing. And I speak on the subject, like do lunch and learns and that type of thing to help teach other people how to do it. But from the things that we've covered, I found that my experiences resonate very well with people that do a lot of networking. I also found that a lot of people don't know enough about how to network properly. And so that is part of the intention with the app is that it helps to get people in the right frame of mind and do the right things with it. Now, as far as the other thing I would say about this, there are other people that are playing in the networking space, and they're doing one or two things in it. And I think that's their mistake, and eventually it'll be their downfall. Because like, if you're just connecting people, that's fine, but then the relationship isn't connected. If you're just doing introductions, that's fine. What about referrals? What about all the history, all the things you learn about the person? What about follow-up and remembering to? All these things need to be tied in, and I think it's something very important in this space, and that's what we're doing.
All right, well, great job. Good job on the demo. Yes, I like to help a feature out myself. It's, I saw that, said you gain 100 points for helping someone move, so there you go, there you go. If you ever want to help out some of the sales, they just help them. Event shout-outs here and wrap things up after our YooGloo demo. We got some events coming up. First of all, we were hinting of how many of you can hinge event. It's actually running a 2-day event at Fordham University on June 28th, 29th. Thank you very much. Called Startup Spectacular, and it is spectacular. It's basically pulling the whole Tech Breakfast network together. All 17,000 folks on our list for a 2-day event. We're basically combining 6 of our best events together into one mega event, which is why we're calling it Spectacular. Yes, our Ask VC event, we're also doing an M&A version of that for mergers and acquisitions. We are getting the folks who are buying companies for billions of dollars to come, spend time with us, explain how that works, meet with you. We're doing a press gauntlet, and the press gauntlet is fantastic. As a matter of fact, we have some members of the press here, so hope they don't mind if I say this. We got CNN, we got Bloomberg, we have Fox, we have Fortune, we have Forbes, we have technically TechCrunch, we have a whole bunch of folks, and what we're doing is it's called the press gauntlet. It's speed dating with the press, so we line them all up, and then you have speed dating style, 3 minutes to do your pitch. They might write about you, they may not write about you, but we're here in New York, so it's pretty awesome. So we have all these tech writers coming from all those press outlets. We have a 4-track biz boot camp, which is basically how to starting your company, growing your company, funding your company, and then a lessons learned. And we're queuing up some pretty amazing folks to come on lessons learned. So some great entrepreneurs to share their successes and failures, which is why it's called Lessons Learned. What else we got? We have this awesome thing we're doing the evening of the first day. So first it was just Crowdfunding Palooza, which we were doing in partnership with Indiegogo. And so it's a trade show or an expo of folks who are actively crowdfunding. So you could see their thing at Indiegogo, but then you can actually also see the thing that they're crowdfunding for in person, which is really cool. So we're partnering with that. And then we're like, let's just open up the expo to everybody. So what you're going to see is that if you're a startup, and you want to exhibit at the expo during Spectacular, we have a table for you. It's going to be the 400, 500 folks who are coming to Spectacular, plus we're probably going to open up separate tickets for just the expo part. So if you're interested in participating, there will be booze, there will be food, there will be a demo stage, there will be tables. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be spectacular, which is why it's called Startup Spectacular. I think there's some other things that are thrown in there. We may have some yoga. We may have yoga and yogurt. I don't know, whatever. We're just going to have all that stuff in there. We're going to have we may have waffles. I don't know. So if you're, that's for the Belgians. It's a little Belgian shout out for you guys. Well, they came to mind. It's like frites and waffles. So if you're interested in joining us for this event, June 28th, 29th, Fordham University, go to startupspectacular.com. All right, those are all my events. I know there's some other things. There's workshops we got going on for you. We have after-hours events. You can get drinks and drunk. So who here has events that they want to shout out to the community? Once again, these would be meetings, meetups, after-hour events, happy hour events, parties, weddings, bar mitzvahs. We're open for all that sort of stuff. I mean, you got anything coming up? Want to shout out? Okay, we got a couple. Let's go back there. Chris, throw in the mic real quick.
Hey everybody, my name is Zach. I'm with Masterclassing. We are having a PR and Communications Masterclass next week, actually April 19th. If you guys are interested in learning more about all the trends, tech, and technologies in that practice, then go ahead to masterclassing.com and register. It'd be great to see you guys there. Thanks.
All right. Who's got some free beer? All right. Got some free beer. I knew it. All right. Get man.
It's looking like it's going to be April 27th, but I'm potentially starting a series with TechServe, which is really awesome store here in the city. It's Apple-based. And what we're going to be doing is called the 1 Hour Startup, where we take early stage product or just someone with an idea and build an MVP in an hour with a panel. And then the crowd in the last half an hour gets to say, hey, I want to co-found, or hey, I know someone that can help you build that. So literally build a company in an hour. Super fun. And yeah, just let me know if you want more details.
That'd be kind of fun. Like, do like the whole startup in an hour. Like you start your company, you get your product, you get a couple of customers, you raise some money, you like expand too quickly, and then you go bankrupt. That would be awesome. Like one hell of an hour. And I'd be like, oh my God, we raised $2 million, and like spent it all in like 30 seconds. It's like crazy. All right, any other follow-up events? Any other things going on? We should do that. We should totally do that. All right. Okay. All right. We're all done. All right. So our final demo. Our folks from YooGloo. YooGloo, you're up.
How you doing? I'm Joe from YooGloo. We're a brand new launch based out of Philadelphia, and we're in the network sphere also. That's a lot of companies are. A lot of companies are handling it in different ways. So what I want to show you, I want to show you where we are now and where we're going with YooGloo. Right now, YooGloo is basically an Android contact manager replacement at this point, but with some extra features added. Okay, we're adding some features such as, for instance, it's a regular contact manager, as you can see. And also, we're also integrating group messaging. For instance, I need to keep in contact with a lot of different groups, and to go to my text program and just add these people one at a time. It's very time consuming. Or going to a whole different app that's a group messaging app is also kind of cumbersome. So right here I've got my development team set up, and I can email them all at once using instead of using writing a proprietary program, it'll use whatever my default program is. So, same thing with SMS. I can SMS them if I like. I'll be able to contact them in any number of different ways. And what's nice about it, it's persistent, it's always there. It's going to be something you don't have to recreate every time you want to send a text, or you don't have to like look through a long list of previous texts you sent to see who's on this text. But, do I have one where all 4 people were on it at one time? And so not to have to do that anymore. It's going to store things within the app. And I think I'm locked up here. So again, I'm not sure if you saw that, but SMS is going to be handled the same way. It's going to use wherever my default app is. So we're going to add some other CRM type features too, like we're also going to be working on adding attachments for contacts via Microsoft OneDrive, Evernote, things like that. So you're not storing attachments in 100 different places. We're not going to be storing your attachment for you. You'll be able to store it as a link to a document that already exists. So that's where we are right now. And what we're going to be doing, we're collecting info on how users use the app, because what it's going to go to is more of a tool that's going to be a comprehensive way of, I like to say, well, an elevator pitch is, it's going to help people become connectors and help connectors become super connectors. And what I mean by that is, for instance, here's a more styled version of the app. This is what's coming soon. Working on styling right now. And you see there's a tab called connectors. So what we're doing, we have an algorithm that we're working on right now. It's in a test bed. And what it's doing, it's ranking contacts you already know, people who you know personally in your own address book, as to their power, their connectivity power. And you see here that it has different sizes. This is one of the ways we're working on to make it a much more easily visualized type of thing. You want to find out who are the biggest connectors you already know. Instead of trying to go to a room full of people and figure out, okay, who are the people I need to meet? I need funding for an app. Who do I know in that space? Okay, because as you know, if you're if you're an app company, if you're any kind of entrepreneur and you need funding, you'll know that those networks are incredibly difficult to break into. It'd be much nicer if I knew someone who may know someone who I could start working through instead of just feeling around in the dark. So for instance, I see that Ro's head's really big. Not that Ro has a real big head in real life, but I can see from my graph here that she's a pretty powerful connector. Let me connect and see who she knows. So using the YooGloo network, I can see she's connected to some other pretty powerful connectors. If I zoom out even more, I can see the biggest connectors in the whole YooGloo network. You know, I can see Erin. Erin's like, hey, I heard of her. She works for for ABC Ventures. I may want to meet her. Who do I know that knows her? That would be an incredible thing for my company. So if the tap, I can trace back. Now it goes through the network and figures, who do I know that knows the one that knows Erin? And again, it's Ro. So I may want to, since I already know Ro personally, I may want to contact Ro, get in contact with her, let her know what I'm doing. Because chances are Ro's a connector. What connectors are people that love to connect people. Connectors love being connectors. They want to be identified. So I go through a Ro, and I can initiate an introduction. Now, it doesn't have to be through the app. I can do it, I can call on the phone. If I know her personally, I can email, I can get a hold of her any way I want. But the idea behind this is to use the network you already have, using the people you already know to make connections. Instead of trying to spray and pray approach, it would be much more of a targeted type of network. So it's smarter networking. It's not working in the dark. And that's where YooGloo is going. We are actually working on this right now. Again, it's in the testing stage. There's really nothing to show right now, except for the demo. But that's what I hope it could be. Now, you may already be thinking, wow, how is this different than LinkedIn? Now, LinkedIn does have a lot of data on you. But LinkedIn, I think they sort of downplay this feature. If you ever go to the LinkedIn page, you'll see that they sort of have this little graph in the corner. It doesn't really give much info. And I don't know what, they're trying to do a lot of things at once. So I think that we're going to be really focusing on this feature. And this feature, I've got a lot of feedback from it from salespeople, from new entrepreneurs, even just young people just graduating college, getting out into the world and needing to build their own personal network, build their personal brands. And a real shortcut to do that is to know someone that's already where you want to be. And that's where YooGloo's got. Thank you.
All right, good job. Good job. Good job. I know you launched last week. You launched last week or something, yeah, which is great.
Last week, yeah.
So this is really good. I think one of the things that you had done in earlier demos, this is your second show, which is great. You did an early demo down in Northern Virginia, and I saw that one of the things you talked about is sort of like rating and ranking sort of also. You're thinking about the strength of the connection, which is one thing that obviously LinkedIn doesn't do. They just say, okay, I'm connected to you, and you're connected to this guy, but that guy in the middle or girl in the middle may be like just LinkedIn promiscuous, which is like how I am. I'm like, okay, connect with me on LinkedIn, which is great, but I don't actually really know those people, so I can't really make that connection. And one of the things you were talking about is that you were going to try to sort the strength of the connections, and so you're looking at using external data to do that. Are you still thinking about doing that? Like, okay, well, if I'm connected to you on Twitter, that doesn't really mean anything because you could have 1 million followers, and each follower doesn't mean anything. But if I'm connected through these other sources, then that strength of that connection is much stronger.
We'll use whatever sources that we feel will give us the best data. For instance, I know with Twitter, you can access their API. Truthfully, I think a Twitter connection is probably one of the weaker connections. I think that if the user gives us permission to access their address book, which most apps will do, if we could find that if someone that emails you, someone that says an SMS message to you, that's a very strong connection. If somebody has your mobile number, that's a pretty good indication that you know that person. That's one information that you don't generally give out to everyone.
As I was saying, like as you're like iterating and as you're trying to find that focus, like as the earlier commenter said, like finding that one key feature that sort of differentiates you, that would be really cool because it could be like, look, this person I'm on regular email contact with, I'm on regular text message contact with, we're Facebook friends. Odds are pretty good that the three of those combinations together might mean that they will probably take my phone call or my email. So you may want to pull that string. Did we have a mic out somewhere? Oh, that's a question. I know F is himself a super connector, so that's very good. We'll talk a little bit about sort of your business model, right? So obviously LinkedIn has iterated to finally find a business model, which kind of works, maybe it doesn't work. Where are you heading, you think, with your business model?
Okay, well, right now, the app we have now is free, and it will stay free. It will always stay free to use as, like I said, this contact manager replacement for your Android contact manager that will have the additional features. And what we're looking to do is build up the YooGloo network. From that network, then we can use that to gain our own signals. Depending on other APIs to get signals, I think is a touch and go thing. As was mentioned earlier, for instance, LinkedIn used to give you a lot of info. They've really reeled that back in. So it's good for clogging up your address book with people you don't know. But that's what we're trying to avoid. I myself had my address book. I did one of those consolidated address book apps, and it just brought in 4,000 or 5,000 people that I don't know and cluttered up my address book and made it totally worthless. I spent a week decluttering it. So like I said, we're going to build a network of very strong connections, very obvious connections. Or actually some that are so obvious. These are latent, some people have like latent superpowers, and their superpower might be their connectivity or their ability to connect others with like-minded people or people who have a need that needs to be filled.
I think I know one right there. That's good. Okay, cool. Any other comments or questions or feedback? Thoughts? To talk a little bit about some of your platform support. You're on Android now. Are you thinking of
Android? It will go to iPhone. We're starting with Android. We want to get this nailed down first.
Okay. Starting simple. Okay. Cool. Any other questions? I think I'm getting that tech breakfast glazed over look. All right. Okay. Well, in that case, good job in the demo. Good job in the interactions. You gotta get that guy right there on the platform. All right, cool. So let's see if we don't have any further shout outs, any events going on. Did I miss any of my sponsors? Any job shout outs that I missed? All right, did I have one hand up? Yes? No? I don't? Yes? Yes, okay. Okay, let's give you one and then we'll wrap things up here. All right. Just help me work off the bagel, I see. There you go.
Good morning, good morning. My name is Kayla Williams. I'm a freelance full-stack developer, and I also teach web dev basics over at Google a couple weekends a month. So if anyone's looking to add to their dev team, definitely have colleagues in a team in UI, UX that can support that. Thank you.
I think you might have just made a match, because I think up front he was looking for a full-stack developer. So, hey, that's what we do here. We're better than eHarmony. We got one over here. We'll do it. We'll make another match.
Hey, I'm with a company called UserTech, and we are organizing an event focused on UX and UX methodology next Wednesday in Rise NYC. So anybody who's doing any startups in fintech, e-health, energy, productivity, marketing, media, come join us. It's Rise NYC, April 20th, next Wednesday, UX.
What's the URL for that?
Sorry, what? The website is on the splash pad, so you can find it on Digital NYC. You can find the website.
NYC. All right, good. Okay, well, on that note, as I said, you guys have that Tech Breakfast glazed over look, which is great, lots of demos, and it's only like 9:45 or something, so you got a whole day of business left. So on that note, let's give a big thank you to all of our presenters, did a fabulous job. Folks from Breather, and from GemShelf, from Lixsphere, from YooGloo, and I got a special note. He actually walked to me. They created a special code. Okay, he's giving you more discount. Okay, so let's get this code now.
Yeah, sure. So we're going to post this code in the Tech Breakfast meetup page, but if you go on our app and you put in code NYC TechVIP, that's all one word, NYC TechVIP, I got clearance that you get a free hour to try out Breather. Oh. Yeah. So NYC TechVIP in the app, you get a free hour to try out Breather. Yeah.
And that 15% code is still valid too.
It's still valid.
Oh yeah. Wait, you got some more? Lixsphere's got something for you. Yeah, shout out. He's giving away a free Porsche. All right.
I need to get one for myself. I just want to say, so this week we're actually releasing the beta of Linksphere. So right now it's just an iPhone. So if you have an iPhone and you wanted to try it out, just go to our site and shoot us a message. It's at linksphere.com, link with a C.
What? No. Oh, that's an announce. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to reel you in. All right, let's give a big thank you then to all of our sponsors, our friends from DLA Piper and Microsoft, Eisenberg Law Firm, DonkeySoft, Fiverr, Grossi & Co., KissPan, Nexus, Silverweb, and Fairfax County. And the last thing I have for you, if you're interested in demoing at a Tech Breakfast, it's very simple. Just go to the meetup page, click on the About Us link. There's a form in there. Fill it out, and we'll have you on. So in the meantime, get out there, do awesome stuff. See you at the next Tech Breakfast.
Every